Welcome to Raising the Glass, the second episode of our slightly nuanced podcast. So this also is slightly different because we're recording it from The Mixer, our trade show event, at the Ministry of Sound. How cool is that? What it also means is you'll hear a little bit of background noise, you'll hear some tubes, hear some hustle and bustle, but hopefully you'll get to experience a little bit of what we're feeling today. I am delighted to be joined here today by Emma Thackray. Some of you might have heard her on a previous podcast. She's the co-founder of Hip Hop, but she's also my partner in crime when it comes to all things Raising the Glass, The Mixer and Untapped. We wouldn't be where we are today, putting on our inaugural trade show, without the huge amount of help that Emma has provided. I know she loves it when I phone and go, "Oh, Emma, I've had an idea." Now, what we're going to talk about today is one of those ideas, Untapped. Untapped from Raising the Glass is an incubator scheme, agnostic of any retailer, built by industry, endorsed by community, fueled by women. It takes a cohort of women-founded businesses through a year-long programme, helping give them expert advice, support, connections, and above all, a community. This is something different, something new, but something we're both super excited about. At the end of this year-long programme, they'll be exhibiting at next year's Mixer, a full moment. So we wanted to capture our hopes, our dreams, our nerve-sightedness, so that we can look back and see, did we deliver what we thought we'd deliver? How do we take the learnings? And also just mark this as an incredible moment in time for Raising the Glass as we continue to drive inclusivity for women and allies in the drinks industry. Emma, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
It is 10 to 1, so we're halfway through the Mixer. How's it been so far?
It's been crazy, full-on, exciting, buzzing, musical, loads of drinks, loads of excitement. It's been fantastic. I'm spinning. I'm still spinning about it, so I'm just trying to calm down and get my best podcasting head on.
Should we tell people why we chose the Ministry of Sound? Because I'm really conscious that it sounds really well thought through. We've launched the Mixer. We've literally got a DJ playing at the minute at the Ministry of Sound. It sounds like it's a marketeer's dream. But we actually came up with the name The Mixer because we wanted to mix it up a bit. And then we found the Ministry of Sound. But I'm happy to share why we locked the Ministry of Sound down as a venue.
I'm completely happy.
So we saw a few venues and we came into this one and it was simple as the lights move up and down. They were colour matched to the logo. And then we went into the toilets and there's a button that you push and it starts the music playing.
Yeah, disco rave, yeah. Toilet rave.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's our bit of advice for everybody to make all of your future bookings based on can you press a button and does music ring? But it just, I suppose, is synonymous with the energy we're trying to create.
Yeah, I think so. And, we're trying to be a little bit more relaxed. Not serious, because this is a very serious thing, because we're all about trying to improve connections, access to industry experts, access to buyers. So it's very serious, but I suppose we're trying to do it in the Raising the Glass way, which is by not taking ourselves too seriously, doing it together. The buzz in there at the minute is amazing. There's nothing like a group of women and allies coming together, talking, looking out for each other, boogieing around a bit to the music. We've got a great DJ on at the minute, so yeah, it's cool.
One of the things that we talked about when we started scoping this was what really mattered. So everything we do through Raising the Glass comes from a bit of insight or something that's, I suppose, a lived experience. And one of the things we talked about was the amount of investment in trade shows and exhibitions, and do you get a return on investment from it, because the decision makers might not be in the room. Now, we've worked really hard to bring some brilliant decision makers in the room today. If you, and to be fair, hip hop are exhibiting today as well, but if you put your hat on at any point in your hip hop journey, how important and how much of a difference would an exhibition like this have made?
Oh, it would have made a massive difference, because you're so right. We've done so many trade shows, and we still do trade shows because you need to be there, you need to show your face in the industry. I'm going to be honest, as a challenger brand, the return on investment is not always there. You have a lot of conversations on the very busy trade shows, but I would say 90% of them 80% maybe are not always that helpful. You're not speaking to the decision makers. There's a lot of people trying to sell you things. That's the truth. So it can be quite difficult to get the return on investment from them. So that's why we wanted to be really different about this one. So we haven't got, a zillion buyers here, but the ones that we've got here are really serious. They make the decisions. They're connected into the biggest retailers, and that's what this is about.
One of the other things that we're really trying to do is drive this value exchange. So this is about, not only have we got the exhibition, not only have we got the experts in the room, we're doing meet the expert sessions so people can book time with people that are really relevant to them. We've got panels, we've got Q&A. So we're trying to help everybody upskill in that space, just share the knowledge, because an industry that comes together and grows together is better for everybody.
And that's been one of the really exciting things about setting this up, just like the enthusiasm from the experts, from the people on the panel. So as I've been going around the event today and coordinating people, I've had experts coming up to me asking, right, when is my session? What's going on? How do I link up with all these people? And it just feels like this genuine want. And I'm getting it from everybody, from all different sections of the industry, a want to make a difference, to help people along. I think a recognition that it's tough in the drinks industry, right? And it's especially tough if you're not from a drinks industry background, you don't have the connections, you don't know who to talk to. So this is everybody, I think, paying it forward, actively here, supporting. It's a brilliant value exchange.
I just think people care.
Yeah.
People care today.
Like really caring, and even like contacting some of the people who are here, whether they're a buyer, whether they're an expert, I was genuinely surprised at the immediate yes, I will come to that. I think it's a great initiative. I'd love to support it. What can I do? It's been fantastic.
I think there are loads of people that we need to thank, that the buyers, the retailers, the experts that have all given their time. It would be remiss of us not to give a huge shout out to Sarah Turner.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So the legend that is Sarah Turner, who is always so on brand that she's walking around in a lilac shirt because it matches our brand colours. But she reached out a while ago and said, I'd be interested in some volunteering. And we went, we're trying to organise this trade show. She's like, I can do that. I'm all over. She has been phenomenal. And honestly, if anybody's looking for any fractional support for events, for social media, for marketing, I couldn't recommend anybody more than her, because she's really held a lot of this together.
100%. I think everybody needs to employ Sarah on a fractional basis immediately. I've been trying to snaffle her. I tried to snaffle her solely for hip hop, but she wants to go it alone. So, I'm very willing to help her and support her to do that, because she's a legend.
She's also just a bundle of energy. The smile and
she's so positive all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's brilliant. So, Sarah, I'm sure you'll be doing some social media cut with us at some point. So, thank you.
Legend.
So let's talk about Untapped.
Yes.
I do joke, because you do say that sometimes I phone you up and go, I've just had an idea.
Yeah, she did genuinely do. I've got an idea.
I did genuinely do.
Like, okay, what's coming?
And I guess that's kind of the question is, so when I phone up and when I've got an idea, I think we should set up this industry incubator scheme. What did you think? What did you feel?
Well, it was an immediate yes, because I think it's very needed. So I really liked the fact that it's sort of retailer agnostic. It's all the industry coming together to build this thing. I really wish that we would have had something like that when Kenny and I started with hip hop, because you don't know where to go, if lots of the brands here today are here because it's a passion, because they want to make delicious drinks, whatever those drinks are, but they don't know how to speak to a retailer. They might have made the drinks up in their kitchen. They don't understand about ingredients.
You can't just get a bigger saucepan.
Exactly. We did get a bigger saucepan, and you learn the hard way that actually there are people in the industry that this is what they do. If you don't come from the industry, you've got no idea. We've got people supporting with investment. It turns out that building a drinks brand needs quite a lot of cash. Where's that cash going to come from? How are you going to raise investment? Is it angels? Is it institutions? Again, bringing all those people together so that from a very early point in your journey, you can understand what you need to do. So that's why it was an immediate yes.
So it was an immediate yes, followed by a how on earth are we going to do it? Because we had the mixer running.
Yeah.
We were setting up for that. And then I went, I've got a brilliant idea, and I think it would be great if we could get them to the mixer, which squeezed our timelines quite a bit. But when we then moved into the what does it look like and we scoped it out, what are you most proud of in terms of the annual plan that we're going to deliver? What are you most excited about?
I am really excited about the quarterly events. Because it is a big thing, but then also it's kind of not, because we have done it in a relatively short period of time, because the things that are so critical, they're just critical, and so we know what we are, we know we need to put them in place. So I think the bringing together of the Untapped, what are we going to call undergraduates? Cohort. To go to those sessions would be brilliant. I mean, I want to go because I think when we were talking about it on the phone, I was listening to what some of the experts who were going to be going there will be talking about, and I'm thinking I need to go and learn that myself. So I think there's that
Spoiler
value.
alert, she's going.
And I am actually going. There's that value exchange there. I think there's something about the peer group, about the cohort, which is really magical, which is like raising the glass in a microcosm, because again, it's peer networks, it's people pulling together. So we've set up a WhatsApp group as part of this, and already I can see an exchange of ideas, people asking questions, the energy, the collaboration, the coming together.
There's a really interesting dynamic, though, because we had a kick-off session, got everybody in the room virtually and said, introduce yourselves, what you do. And it's a really interesting element as everybody walked through where they almost went, so before this is just what I was doing. And it's like people don't see their own value. Yeah. So we had people going, well, I was an accountant, or I was a lawyer, or I was this, or I was that. And you can see everybody else going, oh, somebody I can talk to about a question on legal or find out. We're still carrying that round, that almost suppressing our superpowers, what makes us special, because maybe we don't value them as much in ourselves. But if we can get anything out of this, I'd love the cohort to go through it and value themselves as much as they value each other.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You're so right. It's almost like, I'm a lawyer, and then just gloss over it. I'm like, you're a lawyer?
Yeah. And you founded a business.
Exactly. I may be ringing you.
Yeah. The end of this call.
We did actually have, it was really interesting because in that first meeting, we had a full business in a room, like all the sort of different component parts, marketing, sales, legal, all the stuff was there in the place. But you're so right. It is quite a female thing to do that, isn't it? Almost just kind of like push it to the side. Yeah. I'm a commercial director of one of the largest retailers in the country. Like, oh, okay, brilliant. That's amazing.
I think it is hard to kind of put yourself out there for a lot of reasons, whether it's the imposter syndrome, whether you might have before and been criticised for it or whatever it might be. But it was really interesting, not only that element of people being more confident in owning what they've done and the brilliance that we see in it, but as you said, you had everything in that room.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And there's something really beautiful about this challenger brand space and this founder space where I've certainly grown up in larger organisations where there's almost a tribal-like reaction to a competitor. But again, in this space, I think it's that challenger brand and that founder element that binds you together, where everybody wants everybody to succeed. It's something that, having worked a lot more closely in the space, I really love seeing it and experiencing it, because it's very different. And I think it's what the industry needs. We need more people being more supportive, for more innovation to flow through, for more things done differently, and for environments like this and initiatives like this to work.
Yeah, I think so. And I do think that is quite a Challenger Drinks brand vibe. attitude, approach. So in the room today, so Hip Hop's here, we've got 3 or 4 direct competitors of ours in the room, but we're all hanging out, we're all talking, we're all sharing stories, we're all connecting other challenger brands that we see, that we know, coming in with each other,
in a competition law compliant way.
In a competition law compliant way. And, we are all competitors, and sometimes we will be up against each other, and sometimes, Hip Hop might, be lucky enough to win that deal, and sometimes we won't, and one of our other competitors will, and that's fine, because actually what we're all doing, and I think there's a real recognition of this, particularly in our space, we're all building the category together. It is very rare and unusual for one challenger brand to build a category all on its own. Like, I can think of a handful of examples, but actually what we're trying to do in our wider category or subcategories is to bring it on together. And I think that's really reflective in the way, as I go out of here when we finish the podcast, and I'll see people talking to each other, connecting, swapping, sharing. It's really good.
Because you're right, if you take hip hop as an example, where you're trying to create that new subcategory, the more people that are talking about healthy soda and the benefits of functional soda, the better that is for the market's understanding.
100%. Because I guess a really interesting thing about building a challenger brand in the drink space, if it's a newer sort of drink, a functional drink or a subset of a functional drink, what we're trying to do at the same time is educate the consumer. So again, it's very difficult for a challenger brand with a limited budget, limited connections to do that, to do it on our own. That's why we need to pull together and work together.
So for a lot of the people who are going through as cohort 1 of Untapped, and for a lot of people listening and watching, you'll be one of the superstar brands that they want to be. Loved your little face there. but you will be. You've done it. You're ahead of the journey, and you talked about how useful something like this would have been when you were starting out. What one bit of advice would you have for Untapped as they start their journey?
Take every single opportunity that is given to you in this 12 months, whether it's a connection to someone else in the industry, whether it's some insight into something that you don't understand, and just go for it. And don't hold back. Don't let imposter syndrome get in the way of reaching out to people. I could, my own journey with hip hop would have been a lot faster if I had learnt that a lot quicker. And I hope one of the 4 sort of key parts of the programme, and maybe you can explain a little bit more about this because you've pulled it together, is about that really key thing that we all need to do, which is getting over the imposter syndrome, putting it out there, talking to people, picking up the phone, making the contact. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. There's been so many times in this journey where I've been nervous about doing something, and I've grown and I've learned, and I'm not that person anymore. I've grown, I've learned how to do stuff, I've learned how to put myself out there, and I really hope that this 12 months can kind of accelerate and condense that for people, because that's how you'll get ahead, just getting out there, talking, sharing, being yourself.
It's really interesting because we have some very functional things that we're going to share, some real... These are some of the learnings for exactly that, to accelerate. But there are parts of the programme where we are talking about things like, that your authentic self and that imposter syndrome, and really leaning into it. And we talk a lot about rebranding it as improver syndrome. I think you feel the way you feel because you care. Because you want to get it right. You want to get the result. It comes from that passion, and we almost label it as imposter syndrome in almost a negative way. And I think, to be really clear, what we're not going to do is take a cohort of Untapped through and go, none of you have got imposter syndrome anymore, ta-da. It's more about leaning into that and go, yes, it's going to exist. And yeah, you're still going to pick up the phone and go, can I do this? But recognising it and understanding it, and I suppose unshackling some of the limitations that you can put on yourself because it's really uncomfortable to step into that space, is what we're trying to get out of that.
And unshackling it together. Yeah. Because building a brand is a lonely place. I've got a co-founder, and we together still find it quite lonely and challenging at times. So a lot of the founders on the Untapped programme, forgive me, I don't know the exact number, but we've got a lot of solo founders on there who are doing it by themselves. So that's the beauty of this, because they're not on their own, because they've got their 11 other people in the cohort they can do it with. They've got me there, they've got you there, they've got all the people in this room today who've shown up, who've taken a day out of their diary to come and support and be here. So yeah.
And I suppose if this is resonating with anybody that either wants to get involved in cohort 2, we'll share information about that in due course, but anybody who wants to support it, we've just set this up. I think the biggest thing I've learned from Raising the Glass is it's not about me. It was never about me. It genuinely is about the community. I haven't built the community. I haven't built the culture. I've had hopes and dreams for what it would be, but the community, it's a game changer. It's quite unique. It's quite special.
It's really special. So in the 15 months or so since Raising the Glass kicked off, it's made a massive difference, Rom, to me personally, in so many ways, in terms of my confidence, in terms of putting on something like this. And I'm not it's not like I'm a wallflower. I've built a brand, but I still, it's just made such a difference to me personally. I see it in my team. I see them just contacting someone else that they've met at a Raising the Glass event because they want to understand something. I see people from other brands or Untapped contacting already. So I've connected someone from Untapped to a member of my team. I see all these things. And also, Rom, this is your baby. So I have to say, like, well done you for pulling all this together. It is amazing. This is like you are the founder of a challenger movement, which is Raising the Glass. So thank you.
Thank you. It's getting a little bit gushing, and that's fine, because I believe we lean into emotions. It's what makes us who we are.
But I really do. I'm not gushing. I'm in deadly serious. But it's mega.
But I'm deadly serious as well, in that I do believe it's a community, and it is so special, and I am so proud. I'm genuinely so proud of it. And I always say I hope there's a time when Raising the Glass doesn't exist, and it pains me a little bit to say it, because I love it so much. The message behind that is I hope there's a time where it doesn't necessarily need to exist for what it needs to exist now. But now it really needs to exist to drive that. The conversations and the change around inclusivity and diversity and equity. Maybe there'll be a time in the future when it just exists because it's a really great community and connection point. And that's a huge success factor. But you're right, for now, it is impacting people in such a positive way, and it really is a force for change, but that's down to everybody who's played a part in it.
Definitely. I think you're right. It is the community, the coming together. And it's like any business, right? It'll evolve, because it'll evolve in relation to what's going on in the world around Raising the Glass. It'll evolve because of the changes that we're making because of Raising the Glass. And
it was supposed to be a podcast and a quarterly networking event. Now it's a podcast, quarterly networking event, supper clubs, mentoring.
Now we're having a rave.
The Mixer, Untapped, Hey Dan, our initiative to support men's mental health. And I couldn't be prouder. That it evolves. Because that's when we know we're making a difference that matters. If you fast forward a year, we're sat here next year, what will your reflections be of success, of looking back and going, yes, how will we know we've made that difference?
Well, we'll know it's made a difference if we run the event again and people want to come back. That's a sort of obvious one. I think it's the conversation. With things like this, I think it's the kind of conversations you have with people. So sometimes you don't always know that you've made a difference immediately, and then you'll have a conversations with someone and they'll say, I was at this event and this happened as a result of it, or I didn't go to that event but my colleague did and this is what happened. So I think it's those, I suppose, knock-on changes, movements. Hopefully some of the brands have made some really good commercial connections with some of the buyers, and it's going to help them move forward with that they maybe wouldn't have had if it wasn't for the Mixer. Maybe people will change the way that they run their business as a result of talking to an expert, and we'll hear about it that way.
We talk a lot about it not being a moment and about it being a movement. And that's true, and it is, and it's a ripple effect. And we've talked today about, it's really hard to swim against the current. This is about us changing the current. Enough people can change the direction of the current, but it is also a moment. It's a moment that matters, and I don't ever want to lose sight of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is a moment, isn't it? It is. There've been a few moments today where I've been running around trying to organise it, but where you stop, where you feel the buzz. I've had a few people come around going, I feel I'm in a nightclub. This is really cool. Like, it is really like freaking cool that we're in the really ministry of sound. Just the smiles on people's faces. I can't wait to get stuck into it actually and find out how we can make it better. What can we do differently? Just sometimes you forget, don't you? We're all, whether we are, a founder running a business, whether we're in a bigger corporate, we've got big jobs and you're always trying to move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And actually, we just need to soak this up and enjoy the moment and think, this was you ringing me up going, Emma, I've got an idea. And actually, here we are.
Everything starts with a little bubble of an idea and some brilliant execution. As always, wouldn't want anybody else by my side whilst we go through this journey and continue to build this out. Can't wait to see what Untapped brings to life. Can't wait for us to reflect on this next year. But for now, that's it. That's us all wrapped up. Follow Raising the Glass. Follow the Untapped journey. Please become an ally, become an ambassador, become an advocate. We all have a responsibility to turn the tide, change the current, and make sure everybody has a voice and can be seen and heard in the drinks industry. It's our industry. It's here to stay. Let's make sure it's a good one.
That's a wrap.